Ballyboden and Cuala over the weekend. I mean, what a game that was. I'm actually just double checking the scoreline here. Yeah, I don't actually have it there.
Over the next for Thursday's show, Shane, you might try and get up. I'm hearing, I haven't actually seen them, but I've heard so much about Sean Brennan's saves. There was one save against Bowden, and then I believe there was a save against Bridget's that was outrageous as well. I think somebody commented back to you and said no matter how good a save was against Bowden, it couldn't have been better than the one against Bridget. So we'll have to get those clips for Thursday's show.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so the players that stood out, I'm not actually seeing the scoreline there, but it went all the way to extra time, and Cuala just about edged out over the line by 2 points. You might check the scoreline there as I run through the game. Like Niall McMurrough was brilliant for Ballyboden. Keeney got a couple of scores early on, faded out of the game after that. David Tracy was the main man for Cuala. Anytime the Cuala aren't going all that well, you can be sure that David Tracy is the lad who keeps the show on the road. And I'd say jump all the way back to the Leinster final against Oulart in 2015, when the rest of the team was not going well at all. Tracy's the one who led the fight back, so no surprise to see him doing it again, as he did against Bridget's the last day. His free taking was on point. Niall McMurrough, I think he'd been on the frees. I'm confusing some of the games again. Paul Ryan eventually came in and he took over on some of the frees as well. But the drama here, so Cuala were ahead by a point late on, and then it was Luke McDwyer who soloed through after a burst from James Madden, the county player that people might know, and there was a hand pass on to McDwyer. He went low into the bottom corner, and I don't know how Sean Brennan got down for it, but he made an unbelievable save, because if you go 2 points up heading into injury time, it's actually very different even psychologically to 1 point. Because, the teams, you're like, okay, we'll win one ball and go forward. Whereas if it's 2 points, you're like, do we need to force a goal?
Yeah.
You end up look, I mean,
you can't force a goal either. When have you seen a team really force a goal and it work? It just doesn't happen. It happens organically,
Yeah, so he made that save, but Ballyboden still equalised. So during extra time, Paul Ryan twice hit over frees that eventually took it to extra time. So I think Con had gotten a point late on, and I can't remember who else had gotten a point late on, but Paul Ryan answered with frees both times. Went into extra time then, and Bowden, they'd had a few chances for scores late on, and they kind of left it behind them to some degree, in the sense they could have gone ahead late on. And again, there's that whole mental shift of, right now you're chasing the game versus we got away with an escape and we can get a point. But Paddy Dunleavy, who'd come on, and he'd done quite well, he'd actually, first of all, Paul Ryan had a free from midfield. It hit the post, came down and was cleared. I went up the other end, and a few moments later, Paddy Dunleavy got blocked down as he's trying to get rid of the ball by Darragh O'Connell. And Tracy, the ball was fed out to Tracy, and from the sideline, he threw it over the bar. Brilliant score. Went up the other end then. Simon Lambert had a shot from, I'd say, 50 yards out on his left-hand side, maybe peeling away. Something that he's well capable of scoring. Put that wide, went up the other end. Con wins a breaking ball, throws it over the bar, full-time whistle. But the drama was unbelievable. I don't know if I fully captured the drama that was there. But these teams know each other so well. Played the county final last year. It really was great stuff.
It was 127-28 after full time. And I kind of said it to you, like, this could be the sort of game that Cuala are just totally energized by now. And it could go on, and you could see them going on and winning Dublin. You could see them going on potentially and setting up maybe that dream Leinster final against Ballyhale, even though that's a long way. That's a lot of fantasy booking now. That's a long way down the line. But I would imagine they get a good bounce from this. Again, it's another 60 minutes for Con, and then another 20 minutes for Con, who will come on again, having not held a hurl probably for long stages of the year. So I'd imagine I would have thought whoever came through this, and particularly after extra time, would probably be the favourites to win Dublin. And the fact that it's Cuala with all that experience definitely doesn't change my mind on that. And I think they'll be hard beaten from here on in. But as we've seen with the other quarterfinals, there's and Nafina probably coming through in particular. Nafina have now earned a big result. It's fair enough. It's a result that you would have expected them to get anyway. You would have expected them to beat Jude's, but that was a game that was definitely looked like it was gone away from them, probably both in normal time and in extra time. So you'd imagine they'd get a nice little bounce out of that as well.
The drama in this game was unbelievable. Like, so beforehand, we've been talking about who's higher up in the pecking order in Dublin, and I was kind of making the case for Lucan to stay ahead of Nafina, because obviously you were looking at the talent in Nafina with Donald Burke there. Shane Barrett, Liam Rush has now joined it. But like my whole point was they haven't quite done enough yet to move ahead of Lucan, who've just been thereabouts for the last decade. But it looked like the Fina were gone here. I think it was level after 56 minutes. Then Jude's went ahead. And like the drama of watching the amount of frees being butchered in normal time by Danny Sutcliffe. Now, Fiona Rin-Bryn would often have taken him over the years, but Sutcliffe was on the frees and he missed a lot of them. Now, he played well and all that kind of stuff, but I would never look at him and think free taker. Now,
striking off his left or his right?
No, off his right. And
that doesn't look natural. Yeah, it wouldn't look natural to me.
Yeah, no, well, he can score off both sides from play. I think he has no bother scoring either side. Like, I think he's quite skillful. But whatever it is about taking frees, I can't imagine he's taken that many over the years. Certainly not when I've watched Jude's. Definitely not with Dublin, even though he took one during the league this year. I think he missed the two from about 40 yards out. So when I saw this, he missed a lot. And actually, Donald Burke was flying on the frees until he wasn't. And during extra time, he started missing. So both teams were missing him. And you know yourself, the nerves when you see that sort of stuff happening. I think he missed two in a row in the first half extra time. Colin Curry took over the frees and he hit a nice few late on. But Nafina won by 3 points, 26-23, but they needed 7 of the last 8 scores to win. So that'll tell you that Jude's had themselves in a winning position here. So it was really great stuff.
I'm just, in my head, I'm just thinking like of all the headlines, you know, at the end, Curry in a hurry, Curry with a flurry. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's too easy.
So that's Nafina, true. Nafina are going to play Lucan. Lucan beat Crave Kieran, and 120 to 116. Crave Kieran probably don't get too much consideration these days in terms of winning them. They're the last team in the north side of Dublin to win it in 2000, and I think it was 2006. But they're a very good hurling team. They usually get the best out of what they have. 120 to 116. Paul Crummy with the goal there, and as it turns out, Cuala, funnily enough, had the hardest group. Then they got the hardest quarter-final against Ballyboden. Now that the hardest semi-final against Crokes. I don't know. Am I imagining something there?
Do you know what, Shane? I actually don't think it's any harm because there's no fear of any complacency whatsoever. I actually don't think it's any harm.
Championship. You might as well have the big teams playing against each other.
Yeah, from a Nafina and Lucan point of view, maybe to a lesser extent, but that kind of reminds me of the Kilkenny semi-final with Tullaroan and O'Loughlin's, as in massive opportunity knocking for the two teams. Like Crokes and Cuala are considered the big, the kingpins, maybe along with Boden. So it's a massive opportunity for the two of them. And in fairness to Paul Crummy, took his role really well. And I think Crave got a goal not long after that, but that kind of put the seal on the win for them. Crokes did what you'd expect them to do against Plunkett's, really. I didn't expect it to be. I knew it was going to be 7 to 8 points probably at a minimum. Same with the SARS in the Upper Church game. It was just going to be a team that we're going to be able to keep them at keep them at arm's length or whatever. Says Nafina will win the lot. I'd probably be stumping for Cuala at this stage, but that's some semi-final, particularly Cuala and Crokes is going to be an absolute belter of a semi-final.
Yeah. So Crokes beat St. Oliver Plunkett's own Rua 126 to 19 points. It was tight for a lot of the first half. Now, Crokes went 14-10 up at half time. What kind of the theme I'm seeing, so obviously Crokes came out like a house on fire the first day out against Cuala, and I think it 3 goals in early on from Ronan Hayes. Started quite slowly the last day out against Bridges, 2-2 to a point behind before cruising to victory. A little bit of a slow start here considering the quality they have, and eventually won by 10 points. What I'd say about Plunkett's is and maybe they were just worn down over the course of the game, but too often players were caught planting the feet and winding up and getting blocked down. That sort of thing. There's good athleticism in that Crokes team, so they're probably going to do that to you. Alex Considine got the goal near the end, but they were well ahead. It was a great finish from him. Just going through some of the comments here. Curry runs through the defence is a good one for Colin Curry. Great save by the Cuala keeper and some point from the sideline by Tracy, the keeper being Sean Brennan. I'm a Nafina man, says Will. So
from man, Will. Yeah, the Nafina hat on.
Lucan are a tough side. They absolutely are. I think there's going to be a puck of a ball in there. And isn't that a great game for us to see exactly who's right in terms of like the pecking order in Dublin?
It's the perfect test for Nafina. It is really like they're after overcoming extra time against a side that put it up to them in Jude's. Now they're going to get it against a seasoned Lucan team who what Lucan are going to deliver. You wouldn't be 100% sure what Nafina are going to deliver, but if they can get over the line, they'd fancy themselves in the final.
If you enjoyed this piece of content, please follow us on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the page, which helps the channel grow. And if you want audio podcasts, go to patreon.com/ourgame.